What's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream, live Q&A / Music is My Business podcast. Shout out to everybody in the stream. Let me know where you guys are from and let me know what you do so I can see who's in the building, man. Shout out to everybody from the Sync Producer Hub and the member only side of things. I see y'all, man. We got Elliot, we got Eric in the building, we got Ken, Kevin, we got Livingston, we got Ray. So good to see you guys from the Hub. Super excited to be back for another week to just chop it up with y'all, answer questions about Sync, how to monetize your music through Sync and everything in between. Definitely have somebody posted something in the community, man, and we have to talk about it. So we're gonna dig into that in a little bit. But yeah, drop a comment. Let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. And while you guys are doing that, I'm gonna hop into the community and see what wins we have this week. We got DJ Code Red in the building from Detroit, producer, engineer, songwriter. We got Zim Zada, a Sync Producer Hub member. What's up, Zim? So we got a couple wins. We got a couple wins this week. One, this was 6 days ago. I don't know if I mentioned this one last week. I'm not sure if we mentioned this on the last podcast when we were chopping it up with CSAC. But if we didn't, let's mention it anyway. Mark Allen with a win. Says from $9 to $1,500 in one royalty statement. I feel like I might have read this, but whatever. It's so huge. Let's read it again. It says, recently you might have seen me post that my last domestic quarterly royalty statement was $9. I primarily write for trailer custom briefs and not for production music library albums, which perfectly accounts for this. However, it's time for domestic payouts, and this morning ASCAP sent a deposit for just under $1,500. I haven't seen the statement yet to see why, but sometimes a trailer track that didn't land gets placed on a production album. I can only imagine the potential for everyone who's writing primarily for production albums. You guys got this. Yo, that's fine. Shout out to Mark Flares Allen on that. That's a huge jump. Like, royalties are interesting, man, because it starts off slow. Usually, I remember my first royalty check was, I don't know, it was probably like $5.13, but it grows and it could jump up out of nowhere. Like, it can go from, like, a prime example here, Mark's went from $9 to $1,500. So that's crazy. I love to see it though. We got Elliot. Elliot says, hey everyone, composer, engineer from the Bay Area, Cali. We got Eric. What's good, fam? Joshua in the building says, hey everyone, I'm a producer and artist from Phoenix, Arizona, but currently based in LA. Hope you're safe, man, with all the fires and stuff happening, popping off in LA, man. Hope you and the fam are safe. And that goes for everybody out there on the West Coast, in that area. Livingston is a producer engineer living in the UK. Let's go. All right, so back to these wins. Jacob Kardik got a huge win, a Gatorade ad. Y'all ain't playing, man. Like, y'all coming with heat. What are we, 2 weeks into 2.5 weeks into 2025 and y'all hitting this hard? So he actually shared the spot, the actual Gatorade spot that he landed. So if you guys, for those who are inside the Sync Producer Hub, you can go to the share a win section and you can watch that video and see his placement in action, synced to a Gatorade ad. He had mentioned that was a result of coming out to the Shades of Sync conference. One of the panelists he met at the Shades of Sync conference, and he was able to secure that ad. So that is huge, man. Shout out to everyone who's involved with Shades of Sync. If I were you, I would get on the wait list so you know when the next Shades of Sync is. Just go to shadesofsync.com. An amazing Sync conference. So DJ Horn for that. Joshua says, appreciate it. Yeah, those fires were definitely devastating for many. Thankfully, my family and I were safe. We do have some friends that lost their home, though, unfortunately. Man, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know someone else from our community. Their family was affected by that as well. So prayers go out to everyone on the West Coast. Um, I had a win. It was like a delayed win. Like in sync, you work on a lot of things, but you can't really talk about anything until it's out a lot of times. So I stumbled across it was an Andrew Wiggins shoe ad that I had did some work on. Man, what was that? I think it was like a year ago, a little over a year ago. I think we wrapped it up about a year ago. So came across a video for that. So I dropped that inside the hub if you want to see that. Also, if you're a Sync Producer Hub member, I'm doing a sync placement breakdown of this ad. I'm going to find the session, open it up next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys tap in for that. I'm going to open up the session and show you everything that kind of went into that. This was actually a kind of work into picture. Like they sent me the video. So I'll show you like what that whole thing looked like and what that process was like. So it'll be cool. So yeah, that's it, man, for the wins this week. For the new people joining the stream, man, let me know where you guys are from. Let me know what you do. And yeah, we're gonna get to it. So somebody in the community shared this very interesting video clip. Shout out to Steve Trimble. Let's see. Let me find. Hold on. Okay, here it is. So Steve Trimble says Sono AI CEO shares his thoughts. ... Y'all know what those 3 dots mean, right? So he says, has anyone seen this video? It makes my blood boil. The CEO of Sono AI says the following. And I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read because I'm going to play the video so y'all can hear it. I want y'all to hear it. What's up, Ken? Serpa, what's good? Musician from Bay Area, focuses on vocals and mixing, mastering. Love it. All right. So let's pull this video up, man. This was interesting. And then I have thoughts, and I will share them. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear it. Let me see.
We didn't just want to build.
Okay. If you're in the, can you guys hear it? Throw a thumbs up in the
we didn't just want to build, let's say, a company that makes the current crop of creators 10% faster or makes it 10% easier to make music. If you want to impact the way 1 billion people experience music, you have to build something for 1 billion people. And so that is first and foremost giving everybody the joys of creating music. And this is a huge departure from how it is now. It's not really enjoyable to make music now. People enjoy.
Why did you say that?
It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice. You need to get really good at an instrument or really good at a piece of production software. I think the majority of people don't enjoy the majority of the time they spend making music.
Do you not think that's like running? It is hard to run. It is painful to run. You don't particularly enjoy it, but you love running. And you get good at it, and you get better at it, and you speak to the runners, and they love running.
Most people drop out of that pursuit because it was hard. And so I think that the people that you know that run, this is a highly biased selection of the population that fell in love with it.
Yes.
I'm jumping back and forth.
All right, y'all. We must talk about this. And then we'll get into some questions. Serba says, is that the Sono AI BS? LOL. Joshua says, not enjoyable. Okay. So I don't know about you. I can only speak from my perspective. Since I started making music, it has always been enjoyable. I've always enjoyed the process. Even when I was trash, it was so fun to just be trash and figure out how to not be trash. Like the majority of producers don't even make money with their music, but they still pay for equipment, pay for plugins, spend time making music because it's enjoyable. At least for me, it was worth the investment enough to invest in it because I had fun making it. And then I have so much fun making it. I'm like, man, I need to figure out how I can actually make money with this so I can just make this all the time and do this all the time. That was like the whole point. So to hear him say making music is not enjoyable was wild to me. That's wild. Now, it may not be enjoyable to someone who needs music but don't know how to make it. But I mean, that's fine. You go find people who love making music and you get music from them. And this is my thing, man, that this is what irritates the life out of me. I don't get along with people who don't like to do hard things. I don't get along with people who like participation trophies for doing no work. And what he just said was just like, like, it's so hard. People don't, it's so hard to make music. You got to learn an instrument. You got to do this. You got to do that. Yes, you do. Like, it's hard. It's not easy. Why are we scared to do hard things? I don't understand that. And it's like, if you want to do this at a high level professionally, you're going to have to go through the hard things so that you can become great at it, instead of just trying to find a cheat code every day, like just trying to figure out an easy way to get around doing hard work. It's wild to me. Like, I have a 5-year-old son. He comes up to me at least 7.5 to like 12 times a day. And he's just like, yo, Dad, like, this is hard. Or I'll ask him to do something. He's like, it's hard. You know what I tell him? I say, yes, son, it is hard. But guess what? You can do hard things. And if you continue to keep doing hard things, eventually they will get easy and you will become better at it. You will become proficient at it and it will become easy. That's life. Like, life's not easy. You're going to have hard times. You're going to have hard, challenging moments in everything you do. So, like, I don't understand this expectation of just like, oh, let's make it easy for everybody to do music. Everybody's not meant to do music. If you're not willing to put in the work, do the hard work, do the hard things. Same goes with sync. If you're not willing to learn how to structure music for sync, if you're not willing to reach out to 3 to 5 companies every single day until somebody hits you back and say, hey, let's do a licensing deal, then you don't deserve a sync placement. You didn't earn it. You didn't do the work. So that's wild, man. Sono. And isn't this the same company that got sued by like all the major publishers because they were taking the music that people worked on, that went through the hard things to learn how to play instruments, to learn how to produce music, to learn how to mix music, to learn how to write great songs, ripping music from those same people that put in the work so that they can train their model to be able to create this AI music? Isn't this the same company that got sued? I don't know. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So yeah, man, like, and so, okay, so this was the funny part. This was the funny part. I was like, I don't know a lot, and I'll be honest, like, I'm just giving my thoughts on just this clip. I don't know the guy. His name is Mikey, Mikey Schulman. So I went to his profile on X because the video had linked to the X. So I went to Mikey's profile and it says, aspiring mediocre athlete, former mediocre musician, co-founder of Sono.com. Now, I love sarcasm, so he could be being sarcastic with saying mediocre. But if not, you just further prove my point. I'm not okay with mediocrity. Like, put in the work to become great at what you do. Don't shoot for okay. Don't shoot for, like, that's good enough. Be great. Put in the work. Do hard things. Because most people won't. If you just do the hard things, I'm telling you, like, you will weed out the majority of your competition because you're not scared to do hard things. So shout out to Mikey. Shout out to Mikey. Oh man, that was crazy. So Steve, thanks for sharing that inside the Sync Producer Hub. Let's go to these comments and see what y'all think, man. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Exactly. The whole point of just making sounds is fun. Yeah, it's fun. Like, I mean, even like there's frustrating times during projects, right? Where we're like going in and making all these revisions. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not all like butterflies and sunshine when, you have a client like on the 14th revision or something like that. Like, that can be frustrating, but overall, I'm enjoying the process. I'd rather do this hard work. Like, I'd rather do this than to do something else that I don't like or that I don't love, because both are going to be hard. Like, I mean, shoot, working 60 hours a week at a job you don't like is hard. Doing multiple rounds of revisions for a client and y'all not on the same page as far as what they want is hard. Which one would you rather have? Choose your hard. So yeah, it's crazy. So it says, to be honest, any hobby is an expensive hobby. You can create music on a very small budget. I agree, especially today. Working towards any goal is what makes it worthwhile in the first place. 100%, Elliot. I mean, that's what makes it worth it. That's what I'm saying, man. A lot of folks want to take the easy route for everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. And now, you just have like a whole generation of people who just like, where's the easy button? Like, this is too hard. Tap out. And he even mentioned in the video, he's just like, yeah, like with the running analogy, he's just like, yeah, like many people just tap out because it gets hard. It's like, that analogy is exactly how it is in sync. Like, I'm telling you, if you will be willing to do the follow-ups, if you will be willing to make the revisions, if you will be willing to watch some TV and listen to the music and study what works on TV, if you will be willing to take a few moments to research who you're pitching to, that's the hard stuff in sync, right? That most people don't want to do. And they're like, oh, this is too much. Like, I have to do research. I have to create stems. I got to create 5 versions of this one track. I can't just send them the wave file and just be done, the 2-track. I mean, you mean I have to go and create a 30-second, a 15-second, a narrative version? Then I got to create stings and bumpers. I got to do all of that. Sync isn't for me. This is hard. And they tap out. Not Sync Producer Hub members. I'm not talking about y'all. I know y'all don't tap out. But everybody else, they tap out. Because it's not easy. It's not quick. It's not easy to put in a lot of work up front without knowing if it's working, without knowing if the music is getting placed, and keep going. It's hard. So, yeah, man, if it was so unenjoyable, why is there so much music from so many people? I know. People, I'm telling you, it's fun, man. Sounds like that guy never learned to play an instrument. It really is enjoyable. It is. Serpa says, I think a lot of people forget about that part. It's called the dirty work. You have to put in the dirty work and spend time doing stuff you don't want to do because it's mandatory. You have to put the hours in. I agree. It's like, do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. 100%. Mikey doesn't like making music, apparently. I don't know. Like, now, like, I feel like I should like go on a scavenger hunt for Mikey's music. Like, let's see if we can find some of his music online just to see, like, LW says, make mediocre music should be the next shirt you sell. I know, right? Make mediocre music. That's it. That's the next one. But that's why I make these shirts. I make music, not excuses. The link is in the description if you want to grab one or a hat. Because stop making excuses. Just make the music. Make the music. Ken Staff says, go to a Kojic convention. There are so many people waiting to showcase the stuff that they worked on. Yes, it is hard, but all kinds of people keep doing it, and I am one of them. Oh, 100%. Listen, I already know. I already know. You got to work on that craft, man. If you want to be on that stage. I've worked with artists like that, and it kind of builds resilience as a human. I agree. If you can't revise an artist song 5 times, even if you don't want to, how do you expect to work for a business? Yep. And you know, man, sometimes you can pick up on like, it's a saying, like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And there's some people who want success in music so bad. But then if you look at their work ethic, even at the job that they're at, even in just how they operate in life, you will quickly realize why they're not where they want to be, even in music. It's because it's just like, honestly, bro, you're lazy. You're lazy. You don't want to do anything. You want everything handed to you. You make excuses as to why something doesn't get done. You're not on time. You're late. You call out all the time. You're not dependable. So it spills into everything else you do in life. So, you know, you should probably start with what you do have, where you are now, the kind of work that you do now, and learn how to be consistent in that. Learn how to be dependable in that. Learn how to show up when it's hard in that. And then I don't know, the music stuff might start popping off. I don't know. Try it. There is no easy route to greatness. That's a fact. So yeah, let's take some questions, man. Elliot, I know you mentioned you had some questions. Let's bring Elliot up. Let's see.
How you doing?
What's good, Elliot? What's your question, man?
Not much. Just happy to be diving into sync finally after feel like I've been researching it for like 2-3 years now.
Oh no, I feel you.
But I had a couple super quick questions that I just want a little bit of clarification on. So
Yeah.
I have about 2 projects that I basically have ready to pitch.
Okay.
And I got a little bit ahead of myself as I was making them, and I had already registered them with my PRO.
Okay.
And in the course, you mentioned that a lot of libraries and stuff will want to register it on their end because they'll want to register themselves as the publisher.
Yep.
How do you go about pitching tracks that have already been registered on your end?
Got you. Is is it a specific company you're pitching to, or you're just like starting the pitching process?
No, just as a general, like if I want to start pitching these, but they've already been registered,
yeah,
is that gonna affect anything and how I go through the process?
Not necessarily. In that event, so he's asking like if I have songs that are already registered with my PRO and I'm starting this pitching process to different publishers, is that going to play a role into how they proceed in moving forward and working with them? So, not necessarily, because if those tracks are already registered, one of 2 things will happen. They will just retitle them and just name them a different title, or they will take the existing title, especially if it's like a non-exclusive deal. They'll take the existing title and then they'll put their publishing company's prefix or suffix on that title so that they can identify the title and be able to collect on the behalf of that title. So, for example, let's say if it's ABC Publishing, right? And the name of your track is Winners. So they'll just go in and put, ABC Winners, you know what I mean? Or they'll just give it a whole new title, register that title, and then boom, put your information and you'll be good to go. So it's not a deal breaker at all.
Okay, awesome. And the other quick question I had was in the metadata section, where if there's multiple composers on a track, you would put both their names obviously in the composer section and both of their info in the comment section. However, in the artist section of the metadata, would you still just keep just your name and let them the secondary composer be just in the composer section, or would you put both your names down in the artist section as well, or does that really not matter?
it doesn't matter, I guess, unless one of you kind of goes by an artist name, or you can just do, you know, ABC featuring DEF. I'm making up letter names today, but like you could do that, or you know, depending on just what you both are cool with. Um, but yeah, no big deal. I think the most important thing is just making sure like that composer info is there and accurate, and splits and stuff is there. Everything else is just however you want that displayed. Um, if it's kind of if it's being credit, like if they're showing like an artist credit, you know, if you want both of your names showing, then you could figure that out. Or if you just want you as the artist name showing, then you would just put that.
Okay. And one more follow-up question. If let's say I was to sign a deal with a 50-50 deal, just for example,
Right.
and we have two composers with our metadata in the comment section.
Yeah.
When, for example, how BMI puts it down as 200%, 100 for the publisher and 100 for the writers. When I'm splitting up the percentages in the metadata, would I then put 50-50 for the two composers on there, or would I split it between like 25 and 25 listed and then have the other 50 be for the publisher?
It would be you would do like 50-50
Okay.
for the composer
Okay.
share. Yeah.
So I'm only
Cuz
really writing about the composer royalties.
yep. Yep. And then yeah, publisher takes like the publisher share. Yeah, that's always weird cuz BMI they kind of operate off the like 200% pie thing, and then you have I think ASCAP and CSAC kind of do the 100%. So like
Mhm.
the full writer side on CSAC would say 50, and then the publisher would say 50, but it equals 100. But it's the same. It's so weird, but it's the same thing, except BMI just it's 100 on the writer side and it's 100 on publishing. So yeah, that can be confusing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep, no problem, man. All right, we got Ken. Let's see what Ken has to say. Wait, is it gonna bring it up? Oh, I think it's loading. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, hold on. I'm gonna bring you up, Ken. There we go. What's up, Ken? Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, what's good, Clint?
What's up, man?
So my question, which I kind of hate to admit because I've been doing this thing for a while, but mixes, I'm still taking them to the car, man, and I'm trying to figure out, what you've done, what other people have done to kind of have confidence in your room, and not have to do that. Especially it's cold outside, so I really don't want to do it this time of year.
It's too cold to be running back and forth to the car. I feel you.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, you know what, man? Mixing it was one of those things where I don't remember when my mixes quote unquote got good. It was just like just keep practicing and working, and then eventually I stopped getting feedback to fix my mixes. So I was like, oh, I guess they're better now. Um, so I wasn't really actively paying attention to what I was doing and when that switch kind of flipped for me. But what I will say is that I just kept studying mixing techniques and just comparing tracks that were already mixed and mastered. So for example, I would compare the my final mix with a song that was already released and professionally mixed and mastered, or I would go to a publisher's website, say bmgproductionmusic.com, and like listen to their music, because I know, okay, if they sign this and I know that they're mixing and mastering their stuff, then it's an acceptable level and volume and things like that. So I would just kind of compare mixes back and forth until I felt like mine was competitive. And I think the first step is just having a solid pair of a decent room set up and a solid pair of monitors. What are you mixing on currently?
I've got have the Yamaha H what is it? HS7s. And then
Okay.
I have the JBL 44 something. I can't remember.
Nice,
But,
nice.
you know,
Yeah. So yeah, I think you can get those are transparent enough and flat enough. Excuse me, to get you, some solid references, and then after a while, you kind of get to the point to where if they sound good on there, they're gonna usually translate well in the car. And then after a while, like I just stop kind of doing the car mixes. Like I'll listen, like if I just want to hear the track. But now it's at a point, like especially once you learn your room and your monitors, and you just know like where everything is sonically. I know like once I get it where I need it here, it usually translates well across the different devices and settings.
so you didn't use an analyzer or a tuner or anything for your room?
No tuner. Now I am using a it's like the Arc Studio. It's like a room correction thing, and it took out like a little bit of like some, I think it was like some low mids or something like that. But that it was about it. Like honestly, it was
Mm.
still the way I kind of have things set up. It was pretty a pretty flat mix. But yeah, I don't use too much. I will, like on my mastering chain, I do have like meters and stuff like that just to see where things are across the EQ spectrum, and making sure like there's a balance there. But that's pretty much it. Just making sure it's not super duper heavy on the low end or super duper heavy on the high, but kind of making sure there's enough balance. Carving out any low end frequencies that's not a kick or a bass, and just leaving room for those to just live in those low end frequencies, and then just kind of going from there. If I need to carve out some high end frequencies on some of the other things that just don't need to be there, I'll do that as well to kind of keep things clean and in their own space.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, mixing is crazy. Um, and I feel like I still don't feel like I have like the best mixes. You know what I mean? Like I go back and listen to some tracks just from past year or so, and I'm like, I think that could be a little better. I didn't really like the way that was hidden. So it's like a constant tweaking kind of thing. We got a question from James McGregor. Says, when writing to multiple briefs and the library provided you with ample time to prepare, what's your mindset and approach? Do you take one brief at a time or jump back and forth? That's a good question. I like to focus and just kind of tackle one at a time, because I find it easier to get, especially if I'm doing multiple tracks for a particular brief, right? So I'll take one brief and then I'll just kind of lock in on that. Since I'm in that mode, I'm going to have, all the sounds and everything loaded up. And I also like to, like I'll create a session, get all my sounds and everything right in that session. And then I'll just duplicate that session, delete everything, rename it. And now I have a template for the next track for that brief. So that allows me to kind of work a little bit faster. And then once I kind of get however many tracks I want for that brief, especially if I have the time, then I'll move in and kind of knock out the next one and just kind of stay in that vibe while I'm there. But that's usually how I'll approach it. Ken says, that if everyone took that attitude, there wouldn't be any music to enjoy. There are plenty of people who can't play, but they enjoy music. Yeah, 100%. So yeah. Antonio Ease, what's good, Antonio? Best way to get better at mixing is feedback and testing on the phone, laptop, Bluetooth speakers, headphones. For sure, getting that feedback is crucial too. And then playing them back with radio songs that are already professionally mixed. Yep. Ken says, couldn't you just compare your current mixes to tracks that you already have placed, since you have placements? Yes, I do that as well. That's like quicker because they're already on the computer. So yeah, I will definitely do that. G5 says, I used to check every single track in my car multiple times. My neighbors probably thought I was crazy because so many times I was going back and forth to my car to listen to them. That's hilarious, man. The car test struggle. But yeah, I get it. So yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I did turn the background music off. G5 has a question, so now I'm gonna turn the background music back off. What's up, G?
Testing 1 sec. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Testing. Okay, cool. Hello. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Blessed and grateful.
Awesome.
I just wanted to just basically it's more of a comment about the um, mixes and stuff like that. I'm still trying to get mine right. One thing that helped me, at least for, I mean, I don't know if you can see behind me. I have like um, acoustic paneling that did help.
Yeah.
I tried using the Sonar Works also.
Okay.
And for me, unless I was doing something wrong, it didn't work. I brought the microphone and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I bought it, but and I'd use it a few times, and I would use it and then check my mixes in the car, and I would just it just did they didn't come out right. So maybe that's on my part. But I went to a where was it? It was the PMA meeting, Production Music Association, like a year ago.
Yeah.
And I talked to XJ Will actually in person,
Mm-hmm.
and I said end up and send him a message on Instagram, and I asked him, I said, hey, do you guys do what do you do for your mixes, and do you check them in the car? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, and so his thing, from what he told me, it's going on TV. So it and what I got from that is that it doesn't have to be radio ready. That's what I got. I still want them to be radio ready and be
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
but it just I was so meticulous, and I was going back and forth so many times
Right.
just for one,
Yep.
and it took so long, and then I got frustrated because after making the music and mixing it, and then I'm gonna have Adam A7X speakers.
Oh,
And I was like, I
nice.
spent all this money on the speakers, and then I can't trust these, and I'm trusting the mix in my car, so I just kind of like let it go.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And so and that's it. I haven't checked my mixes in the car. So to yeah, it's frustrating. You spend money on this equipment, and I don't know. I just kind of wanted to put that out there. That's just me
Yeah.
and my situation.
No, I love that because a lot of times, man, we're like our own worst critics, right? And I think that goes to show you that don't overthink it, just send it and let them give you the feedback. If they don't like it, they'll tell you what they don't like about it, and then you'll kind of know exactly what to go back and fix depending on who you send it to. And Jay Will's right. Like when you think about the use of the music we're producing specifically for sync, 9 times out of 10, this music isn't going to be heard in a car. It's going to be heard on the TV, and the volume's going to be mad low, unless it's like an ad and the music is just like shining, or it's a featured placement where it's just in front of everything. But for the most part, it's playing a background role to what's going on to picture. So
Yeah.
you ain't gonna even hear them low ends like you think once it hits the TV screen, those TV speakers. As you got surround sound, then you may hear a little bit, but yeah, I think that just it goes to show you, like, just don't overthink it. Get it as good as you can with what you have. Send it, take the feedback, make the adjustments, and then just keep pitching it and keep it moving, and just kind of go from there. Yeah, like Joshua, yeah, analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I just wanted to put that out there. So
yeah, thanks for sharing that, man.
Thank you.
Yep. I think Ken, you got another question?
Just a follow-up to
Yeah.
what you guys were just saying. When you talk about mastering, so for TV, are you really, how important, I guess, is it to get to that, negative 14 LUFS or whatever it is for TV?
You know, I I don't think they really care too much about the specific number. For me, I'm just trying to get it as I'm trying to get it as loud as I can without it sounding distorted. So I'm looking more so at the decibels on my main channel, and making sure that just peaks at negative 0.1 dB. And then from there, if like with my mastering plugin, I'll turn the gain up as much as I can until I start to hear some distortion and clipping and things like that. Then I'll tone it down and I'll just kind of live there. I may have to make some adjustments on the overall volume of the tracks in the mix. But usually I'll mix low, keep everything low, which will give me more headroom to kind of boost that gain up. And then I'm just kind of topping everything off at negative 0.1 dB. And then usually that leaves me around, I guess, anywhere between -8 to -12 LUFS. But I don't think they're really checking too much for that stuff. Again, once it gets synced to picture, they're going to turn the volume all the way down anyway. So, you know what I mean? Like, fighting the loudness war is almost irrelevant in the context in which the music will be used. Does that make sense? Yeah. Flair says premium clean limiters will get you up to -8 dB with max quality. So yeah, many libraries have in-house engineers that will end up tweaking mixes. Facts. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of times they'll ask us for stems and they're like, yeah, we'll send this to like our mastering people. Again, that's why I'm just like, don't overthink it. Just send it. Worst case scenario, like if they really like your track, they'll be like, just send us the stems and, we'll have our team, put a mix and master. But, always put your best foot forward if you can. Do your absolute best and then go from there. Ray Garcia says networks make level adjustments too. They have to per FCC. So yeah, Ray, we're gonna get Ray on the podcast, man. He's gonna give us some insight. Ray, I'm gonna reach out to you, man, and we can schedule that because I think that would be a great conversation too with your experience. I personally don't focus on LUFS unless requested by the music library that I'm submitting to. Put my master on Ozo 10 advanced at -1 dB true peak. Boom. There you go. We got a question from Livingston. Let's bring Livingston up. Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? How you guys doing? Can you hear me?
Good. Yep.
Okay. So like basically, I got a track that I'm working on for sync, and my wife, she heard it and she really liked it, right? She does a bit of singing here and there, and she really want to be a part of it. But the problem is she's not signed with any pro or anything, and I know the importance of like all parties involved that the music supervisor and people need to know about. So I was trying to explain to her like, this may not work. I mean, it's a great song and you want to be a part of it, cool, but this may not work because you need to be signed with the pro. And she was thinking, well, there got to be a way around it. And I was like, well, the closest thing I could think of is maybe you sign a work for hire agreement, right? Whereas, sign that up and I guess, quote unquote, pay you. And I keep a record of that and hopefully they'll accept that. So I guess my question is like, would that be a good approach in a situation like that? I mean, generally I try to work with people that are just signed with pros. So it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But my question is like, would that be a good approach when dealing with a situation like that?
Yeah. You have
What can
two
you recommend? Sorry.
Sure. You have two options in that situation, right? So if someone's not registered with the PRO, and you've collaborated and you want to pitch that, you can either just have them go ahead and register with the PRO so that they have that, especially if it'll be continued collaborations. That would be the best move, to just have them get registered as a writer with the PRO. Second option is you could do like a work for hire agreement and just basically say, hey, for X amount of dollars, you agree to, write this song or perform this or, play this, whatever the situation is. And you won't, you're not entitled to any ownership of the master recording or, writing or publishing or anything like that. So yeah, those are like the two options. You pretty much, nailed it. And it's just a matter of what you all feel comfortable doing.
Okay. All right. All right. Cool. Cool. And to comment on the whole acoustics thing, and I know the feeling. I used to run to my car as well, and it's cold out here in London, so I know the feeling,
Man.
and it's
Yeah.
crazy. And I got my room treated, and it was tough adjusting to it, and eventually I got there. So yeah, just hang, just to Ken, just hang with it, man.
Yep. For sure, man.
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. Gabba Music Work says, referring to the wife question, what if we have equal ownership in the company? That's kind of different because you have the company and then you have the asset, right? So the music is the asset. So like whatever the agreement is with the asset, that's with that asset, not necessarily the company. If you have equal ownership in the company, then technically any money that the company makes from the asset. So if the company gets paid, say $500 upfront sync fee for a song, then I guess technically you just get whatever the split is as owner of the company on how y'all get paid. But that would depend. But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with with like writer share or anything like that. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Kenyon says, when first starting out, is it more important to build your company before pitching, like website, logo, etc., or should you just focus on getting the music out there first? I would say focus on getting the music out there, because like the chances of them like checking for websites and logo, they don't care. I'm gonna just be 100% honest. Like, they don't care. Like, if you have a website, nice, but like they really just care about the music. Like, they're not looking like, this guy doesn't have a logo, we're not gonna use this music. No, like if the music is great, they could care less if you have a logo. They could care less if you have all these professional looking things, EPK. Like, it doesn't really matter. When I started, I mean, I had a website when I started, but it was like just up there from other stuff I was doing. But when I was sharing my music and reaching to the companies, I never really shared my website. It was always some sort of streaming link or like a box folder of tracks, or now a disco.ac link. Rarely, honestly, I don't think ever have I just shared a link to my website. Like, it may be in my email signature, but I've never shared a link to my website. But I will say this, it doesn't necessarily hurt. I had a TV placement mastery student. He was going through the pitching process in TV placement mastery. Like week 7, we start pitching, and he did everything that we had outlined in the program, right? But he just by default kind of had his website linked to his music because he's a producer, a dope producer, but also an artist, right? So in the email signature, he just had it in there by default to his website where it showcased some of his artist music. So what ended up happening was he would send an email out. He sent the email out to a publisher. He had his disco link with the tracks that we crafted through the TV placement mastery program. But then the publisher hit them back and they were like, hey, I actually checked out your artist stuff and we actually love that too. Like we would love to, to sign some of that stuff or have you create, some stuff like this for our catalog. So like in that instance, it worked out to his advantage to have that website. So I would say if you have it, have it in the signature or something like that. But if you don't stress out about it. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to go and like start creating all this stuff and spend 6 months building a website and, and all that stuff, getting logos designed. If you don't have it, just start building a playlist of music, start pitching it, get the ball moving. And then, as you develop as an entrepreneur or whatever, and you start to build your brand, then you can start to put those things in place. But it's not necessary to get started in sync. Good question. Let me see. We got time for a couple more. Patty P says, do you still use a Stream Deck or Loop Deck to help fast track? I'm not using the Loop Deck. I got rid of the Loop Deck. I sold that joint. It was cool. What was it about? It was something that I didn't like the response time to the wheel. I liked the wheel, but in certain apps it just wasn't responsive. And not Logic, but Final Cut Pro, it was more of a headache than anything. I still have a Stream Deck that I use. I'm using it now, but I set up some shortcuts for like Final Cut Pro in the Stream Deck. I don't have any. I think I'm going to create some for Logic too with the Stream Deck, like just some quick key commands that I can just hit a button and it does it. But I also have an SSL. What is that? I think it's the UF1 controller, and that does well for like my Logic stuff. It has the transport slider and some other little knobs and windows and stuff that helps me. But no Loop Deck, just Stream Deck and the SSL controller. So yeah. King says, thank God. Yeah, don't stress out about that. So yeah. Shout out to everybody in the stream, man. If you guys want to know the steps that I took to start getting TV placements and like everything I did that did not include building a website and logos, there's a free Sync Producer Quick Start guide. Just hit the link in the description, download that, and that'll show you the steps that it takes. And it's honestly simple. It's not easy. We were talking about hard stuff earlier. It's not easy, but steps are simple. So I go into detail on what those steps are. And it's just a matter of mastering each step and then just rinse and repeat. So that's it. All right. So listen, this was a great conversation. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about Mikey Schulman from Sono AI. Interesting conversation there. But we are about to transition to live music reviews. So I'm going to dig into the communities and see the submissions that we have. And we're going to see if the music is ready for TV and film. So if you're on YouTube, stick around for that. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, also, if you're in the Sync Producer Hub, next Tuesday, I'm breaking down this Andrew Wiggins ad placement that I got. Going into the session, I'm going to show y'all like the whole setup in there because I was actually scoring to like picture on that joint. So next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to dig into that. All right, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.